Hello, everybody. We should be in the heart of the baseball season, but alas, coronavirus has denied us the crack of the bat, the Cracker Jacks, the peanuts, all of it. So, with baseball still on the shelf, Joe is with us tonight. We're going to go over our all-time best baseball list. I am Kyle Walker, he is Joe, and this is Hitting the Wall. Hey, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got Joe with us tonight. Hello, Joe.
Hey, guys. How are we?
Hopefully everyone's good, although I'm sure like us, they are missing sports and baseball terribly.
I was sitting the other day just thinking about Casey at the bat. I found a reading of it by James Earl Jones, and it just made my day.
Well, anything baseball and James Earl Jones related is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what Joe and I have done is we've come up with our list of who we think are kind of the best baseball players at each position. Now, there are a few rules. You what?
Of our lifetime.
That's what I was going to say. One of the rules is it has to be a player who has played in our lifetime. So we are only talking players from the very, very, very late 70s through present. And I think I only had one player on my list who actually sniffed any time in the 70s. Everything has been after. So that was our one rule because, yeah, if you go back through the 100-year plus history of baseball, I mean, there's guys who were top talent, but I never saw them play except for videos.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
Or even not videos. Like, I've never seen a video of Honus Wagner.
Right. There probably were no videos.
Yeah. Never saw a video of Walter Johnson play. So
yeah, Ty Cobb, any of them, and very few of Babe Ruth. It's not like he was on ESPN's top 10 every night. So okay, so how did you do your list, Joe? Do you have it by position or do you have it by batting lineup? Both?
Yeah. So I started thinking about batting lineup, and then it just got way overwhelmed because I was like, oh. And then I started to have a lot more respect for people who have to put that thing together every day.
I know, it's rough, isn't it?
It is. It can be. So then I just went position. Okay. And so I have your, I included American League because there's been the designated hitter our life,
sure,
for the majority, or if not all of our lifetime. And so I have all the positions in designated hitter, and then I have 5 starting pitchers and 2 relievers.
Right. Okay, perfect. Then, all right. What position do you want to start with?
Why don't we just go around the horn and start with the catcher?
Okay. I'm willing to bet that a lot of ours overlap.
I think there's probably going to be some overlap in this. So,
yeah.
Best catcher of your lifetime.
Best catcher of my lifetime, coming in with 13 Gold Gloves, 14 All-Star appearances, and 7 Silver Slugger awards. And if you don't know what a Silver Slugger is, that's the best hitting person at each position.
Yeah.
So for 7 years, this was the best hitting catcher in the league. I have Ivan Rodriguez.
Yeah. Pudge is on my list as well.
Yeah. I kind of figured
as well. I debated a couple other guys.
Yeah. Yadier Molina, I'm sure is one.
Yeah, Yadi and Mike Piazza.
Yeah.
I think Piazza is an underrated ball player.
He really was. Like his whole career, nobody gave him too much of a thought.
That was a heck of a baseball player. But
yes.
But Pudge. I know that guys will talk Johnny Bench, and
again before
even older guys will talk guys like Roy Campanella.
Yeah.
But I think if you don't have Pudge in your argument for greatest catcher to ever play this game,
sure,
you're wrong.
I agree. Yeah.
So
definitely the best to play 80s, 90s, thousands, teens, and 20s.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So, but yeah, you're right. Yachty, that guy's he's the closest to him.
Yeah, he's in the conversation, but I hate giving credit to anything wearing a St. Louis uniform.
St. Louis.
Yep.
Yeah.
I struggle.
As we move to first base.
And, since I'm wearing my Royals 1985 World Series hat, take that.
I've got my Cubby on my hat. So,
that's right.
I have the issue.
So we have 2 shots at St. Louis Cardinals just right now on our hats.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's go around the horn here. Your first baseman.
Yeah, so this was painful.
It was tough, wasn't it?
This was painful. Well, partially because I think that my favorite first baseman is not the best first baseman.
Yeah, that does make it difficult.
I mean, my favorite first baseman of my lifetime was Frank Thomas.
Okay.
The Big Hurt. I love the Big Hurt during the steroid era because he was just gigantic before then.
And after, and still.
And after, and still today, still looks like he could hit the ball, 500 feet.
Yeah.
I think in the strike season, I think he would have made a real strong run at the Triple Crown.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I mean, he was in first place in home runs at the time, first place in RBIs by a mile that year. And he was in second place to Paul O'Neill in average. But O'Neill going into that strike, he started so hot.
Yeah, he would have fallen off, I imagine.
The first month and a half of the season, O'Neill was hitting like 517.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then the month leading up to the strike, he saw like 110-point drop in his batting average, and Frank Thomas was just steady.
Yeah, it's just mashing.
But he's my favorite. But the best one is Albert Pujols.
Albert Pujols. Okay.
It pains me.
Yeah.
It hurts me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Albert Pujols, who I think was born at the age of 31.
I think so. I think that's right.
Just, my goodness, can that guy play ball?
Yeah. Way back when. I know he's still kicking around now due to that huge contract he signed with the Angels. But, yeah, he's a
hit.
Yeah.
He can't field anymore.
Right. All right. Well, my first baseman, I did not go the Pujols route, although he was in my conversation.
Okay.
But a guy that I never want to face, and, of course, the Royals have had to face him a whole bunch, but just deadly throughout his entire career, Miguel Cabrera. Miggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Miggy's probably the best first baseman, there's a tongue twister, to play. I mean, just because he hasn't had the fall off like Pujols has had. His numbers have remained consistent throughout his entire career, even now, and he is in the twilight of his career. But I still don't want to see that guy come to the plate.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. So how about second base, man?
Second base, there weren't like a whole lot of great options. As I was looking around and I see, people talking about Robinson Cano, it's like, no, that just shows how weak second base is at times. So I did go way back to the 80s, and I went and got one of your Cubs and went and got Ryan Sandberg.
So did I.
Yeah.
Surprise.
So with Sandberg, it was 9 Gold Gloves and 10 All-Star appearances in his career. Like, that's good work, and a Hall of Famer.
Man, I'm going to tell you, for me, it came down to Ryan Sandberg and Frank and Frank White.
Yeah. Sentimental value with Frank White.
But I mean, Frank White was a heck of a baseball player.
Mm-hmm.
He was, no better glove have I ever seen
than Frank White
at second base than Frank White. And he could get on base. Yep. He had a great eye. But Sandberg, dang.
Yeah, and if we're going to take our teams and put a Captain C on them, I'm probably putting my Captain C on Sandberg.
I got a Captain C on somebody else, but but Sandberg makes sense for that.
Indeed. All right, let's keep it real honest with baseball scoring. We're going to skip shortstop for the moment because that's not how they're numbered, and we're going to head over to third base. So who you got at the hot corner?
George Brett.
Ditto.
I went George Brett. I mean, man, batting title in 3 separate decades.
Yep.
And George has a reputation for being kind of a salty fella.
Indeed.
And I kind of think your captain, I like captains that are a little salty.
Oh, okay. So that's where you're putting the C, huh?
And man, I think George would George is the guy. I mean, as far as Kansas City goes.
Yeah.
I mean, he is Kansas City baseball.
He is. Now, we previously have had some players who could have taken that title, but they decided to go elsewhere. Hosmer. But
yeah, Carlos Beltran.
yeah.
Well, wait. Now he didn't decide to go elsewhere.
He didn't get a choice. We traded him.
Howard Baird traded him for a sack of potatoes and 3 onions.
Yeah, I think that's about right. But yeah, George Brett. I had to at least have one Royal on my list, and thankfully Brett's an easy one.
Brett is an easy one.
Yeah, MVP and 13-time All-Star, and then of course a Hall of Famer. So
yeah,
can't beat that.
Nope. No. And now I will tell you, the one guy who I had written down at one point in time, and it was only because of power.
Yeah.
Was Mike Schmidt.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, he and Brett are like bestest of friends.
Yeah. And because Mike Schmidt could hit. And then I also thought about the old drunk himself, Wade Boggs.
He did not enter my conversation. The dark horse on the outside of my thought process was Chipper Jones.
Oh, that's that. Yeah.
I mean,
if Chipper had been on my team, he would have had the C on his jersey as well.
That's absolutely correct.
I mean, that's just the thing. Now we're on the shortstop.
Yeah,
it was tough.
I wrote mine down, and I know that it might break our rule, but before the controversy, this guy could have been the greatest. And we'll go with the shortstop version, the younger version, the not juiced version of Alex Rodriguez, who played for the Seattle Mariners. Again, 10 Silver Slugger awards, 14 All-Star appearances, and 3 MVPs, who just happened to get in trouble a little later in life.
Man, I was thinking through shortstop, and A-Rod popped into my head.
Sure.
Momentarily. Ripken. Ripken was in my head. Ozzie Smith, the Wizard.
Ozzie was a close second in my conversation.
Truthfully, I just couldn't write down another Cardinal. Barry Larkin, who I think is an underrated ball player, popped into my head.
He was a good one.
But here's what I appreciate about shortstops. I like the fielding, just the mastery of fielding.
Okay.
And while Ozzie was the Wizard,
yes,
he was not the best fielding shortstop of my lifetime.
No, I think I know where you're going with this one.
That goes to a guy who played in Cleveland.
Old Omar
Vizquel.
Yep.
Now listen to this. Career 985 fielding percentage.
985.
Okay. Career 985 fielding percentage. This is another one of those guys. And we forget that he could hit. I mean, he had no power.
No, he had no power.
He had 2,877 career hits. And I know people are going to say, okay, longevity. And I get that. But you get longevity because you're damn good.
He played a long time.
Like 22 seasons.
That's what I thought. Yeah, 22.
But you get longevity because you're damn good.
Yes.
I mean, there's no two ways around it. I like Joe Randa. He's one of my favorite guys. I've met him a couple of times. He's a nice guy. He didn't play 22 seasons in the majors.
No.
He played 8.
Yeah.
And it was and you know what? That's a good career.
Oh, that's a very solid career.
Omar Vizquel, 22 seasons in the bigs.
Yeah.
Almost 2,900 hits. And I just keep and then 13 Gold Gloves in a row.
That's ridiculous.
In a row.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, he ran out of fingers for the Gold Gloves and had to go to toes.
Got some necklaces going.
And some of those things, when he first came up, and you look and you just realize, like, he used to play baseball where they hit a rock at him.
Yeah.
And so he learned to catch things with a bare hand. I mean, it was just nuts. It was craziness.
No, he's absolutely a legitimate choice. He was definitely in my conversation. Yeah. Defensive purposes only. I mean,
Omar's my guy.
All right.
He'll hit number 9 for me, and I'm good with it.
There you go. All right, take it out to left field because, man, things get difficult in the outfield.
Left field's fun for me. Left field actually was really easy for me.
Okay.
Ricky.
That's who I've got as well. Ricky Henderson.
All-time leader in leadoff home runs.
Yep.
All-time leader in stolen bases.
Yep, and it's not even close.
Not even close. Second all-time in stolen base percentage.
Yep.
He won a couple Gold Gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky was
10-time All-Star. 10-time All-Star. Yeah.
10-time. And I think he's 77 and still playing independent league.
He last I heard, he is still tooling around the independent league playing baseball.
Waiting for somebody to give him a call.
Just one injury away from the bigs.
And anybody who I have never heard him talk about himself in anything but the third person.
Right.
But Ricky.
All right. Well, yeah, we're in agreement on Ricky's, and I bet we're in agreement on center field. So let's spin it around to the center of the diamond there.
Oh.
Center grass. The kid. Yeah.
Kid.
King Griffey Jr., no brainer.
Jr. I will listen. I have said it on, it's King Griffey Jr. is the greatest baseball player I have ever seen play.
Mm-hmm.
Period. You can try to argue with me. Ken Griffey Jr. is the greatest baseball player I have ever seen play. He is one of only two guys that I will absolutely consider a 5-tool player.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he definitely was. Unfortunately,
and the other one was good, but just was a cheap knockoff of Griffey.
Right. Who was that?
Oh, Carlos Beltran.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they called him 5-tool. That's a stretch. That's a stretch. But no, King Griffey, 10 Gold Gloves, 10 All-Star appearances, and 7 Silver Sluggers. And again, for a career cut way short by injury.
Yeah.
All right, let's move it around to right field because I'm pretty sure we're not going to agree on this one.
Why don't you go first?
All right, right field, because again, when I made this, I made a lineup, and I said to myself, we're playing one playoff series against a race of aliens for the future of humanity. So we have to win. Mm-hmm. So my right fielder is a guy who I don't care who's pitching. I don't care what the situation is. I know he's going to get me a hit. My right fielder is Tony Gwynn.
Okay.
Well, Tony Gwynn from the Padres.
I like that selection. I do.
Yeah.
Tony Gwynn is one of those guys, and you're right. I mean, it could be the monsters from Space Jam learn how to play baseball and show up and throw 240 miles an hour, and Tony Gwynn's going to slap something into the gap.
He sure is.
I get it.
He's going to drive the guy home from second. We're going to get that run. It's just no doubt.
Yeah, it's just what's going to happen. We don't agree.
I figured.
I have Ichiro.
Yeah.
Now this is my thing for Ichiro. I mean, you quoted some statistics earlier, so this is my turn.
Sure.
10 consecutive seasons of 200 plus hits.
Mm-hmm.
No one else has ever done it.
Right.
Okay. Batting title, Rookie of the Year, and MVP in the same year.
Yep.
Nobody else has ever done it. Between his time, which we know the Japanese league is good baseball.
It is good baseball.
It's 4A baseball.
Yeah.
At least.
It's not MLB, though.
No. But between the two leagues, 4,367 hits combined. That's more than Pete Rose.
But he even got over 3,000 in MLB, correct?
Oh, he did, because he only had 1,100 hits when he showed up.
Right. Yeah, I knew that.
So Ichiro.
Okay.
Ichiro was, and for a little bitty guy, he had a rocket for an arm out there too.
He had a great arm. He really did.
He wasn't Bo Jackson, but he had
who is?
But who is? But he had a cannon for an arm out there. And now check this out. This is a statistic that I just found out earlier today because I was looking something up, and this is what got me. You want to know when the final game was in Ichiro's career that he had a below 300 career batting average?
Well, would it have to have been his last?
No, career batting average, because his career batting average, even in after his last game, was still like 319.
Okay, I have no idea.
Second game of his career.
Okay.
After 2 games, he was 2 for 9.
Okay.
Never again did his career batting average drop below 300.
Go below 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was that just that slap it down and beat it out.
Yep. Well, and that's I think that's why you say Tony Gwynn's going to get a hit somehow.
Yes.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
Right. No, Ichiro is.
Tony Gwynn's not going to leg something out.
No, he's going to hit it in the gap, and the guy's going to score from second. Ichiro's going to get on base.
Ichiro might hit a high chopper and end up at third base.
Well, we'll see if we're playing on the old Houston Astrodome turf, where even a bump would bounce 20 feet in the air.
Isn't that the truth?
All right. Lastly, we got our designated hitters.
Okay. Now, this is fun because, I honestly, man, this is one of those things where I was like, okay, if I don't have a spot for this guy in my lineup, but he can flat rake, who do I want here?
Sure.
And it came down to 2 guys. It came down to Mike Trout.
Oh, okay.
And it came down to Miggy.
Ah, there you go.
And this is where Miggy ends up.
Okay.
I mean, triple crown. I don't need to see anything more.
Oh, yeah.
Miguel Cabrera is the only reason why I didn't put him at first is because he split time a lot between first and third. In
his younger days with the Marlins.
Yeah, and he ended up his career as a designated hitter for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, he's tailed off into the last part of his career, but if you put a stick in his hand, I mean, in his generation, there's nobody better.
Yes, I agree.
So put him in a DH and let him just go up there and rake.
Yeah, all he has to worry about is hitting.
He'd be my number 4 hitter.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at this, I'd start with Ricky, then I'd go Ichiro, and then Junior, Griffey, and then Miggy. You want to face that?
That's funny because I went Ricky Henderson, Sandberg, Griffey, and Cabrera.
Yeah, I don't want to face any of that.
No.
Serious.
Now, see, for my DH, it's funny because you and I just flip-flopped. For my DH, I put Frank Thomas.
Yeah.
Because I don't want him to worry about fielding. I want him to hit ball far.
And the Big Hurt can do it.
And he can hit ball far. So that's what I was hoping for out of my DH spot.
Yep. So what we have, man, I think that this is good. I mean, either one of us, we throw that lineup out there, and I don't think anybody wants any of us.
Oh, no, we will win the game to save humanity if this is our lineup. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, really looking at my lineup and like, George Brett's going to be a number 7 or 8 hitter in my lineup.
I've got him at 6, but yeah, he's towards the bottom.
I mean, my final 3 in my lineup are George Brett, Ryan Sandberg, and Omar. So it's just whether am I going to bat Ryan Sandberg at 8 or George at 8?
Yeah.
I mean, really? What in the world? In what world do you create a lineup where George Brett slots in at 7 or 8?
It would, if you were a manager, that would be a good problem to have.
That would be the greatest problem in the history of the world.
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty much. Oh, geez.
So now we're talking rotation.
Well, let's go to bullpen first because we only did 2 for relief pitchers, and I bet we're unanimous on one and maybe split on the second. So
let's go with the one we're not unanimous on.
The one we're not unanimous on, I'm going to consider him my setup guy. But for mine, I have Trevor Hoffman.
Okay.
Played for the Padres forever and ever. His stats just ridiculous. And so if again, this is our one game to save humanity, I got him in the 8th, setting up for my closer.
Yeah, and my setup man would be different.
Yeah.
My setup man didn't have that long of a run.
Oh, okay.
But is near and dear to our heart here in Kansas City.
Oh.
Wade Davis is going to be my setup man.
You're going Wade Davis. Okay.
For 2 years, the man was virtually unhittable.
He was. Yeah, for 2 years, you couldn't touch him.
In 14 and 15.
Yeah.
If he gave up 2 hits in one game, it was just such a rarity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when the man is at All-Star break and he's flirting with an ERA of 0.2.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay? virtually unhittable.
Yep.
Now, and the only reason I didn't have him as the closer is because of the guy that we have that's unanimous. And you want me to say who it is?
Well, he's the only unanimous Hall of Fame selection in the history of ever, always, ever.
So before we see his name, this is the stat that I wrote down.
Okay.
96 postseason games.
Yeah.
A record of 8-1.
Yep.
His ERA was .702.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And he had 42 saves in 96 postseason games.
Yep.
Mariano Rivera.
Yeah, Mariano Rivera. Again, the only unanimous Hall of Famer ever in the history of every person who's ever played this game. Only one man has ever been unanimous, and it was him.
Yeah, and he was only unanimous because he didn't take anybody off.
Right. Unlike Jeter. Jeter should have been unanimous, but missed it by one because one guy was a jerk.
Unanimous.
Do what?
Babe Ruth should have been unanimous. Willie Mays should have been unanimous.
Yeah, but Babe Ruth pissed off everybody.
And Willie Mays was, yeah. There was other things.
Yeah.
That we won't get into this evening.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if I don't want to face your back into the bullpen.
No, sir.
I don't want to face mine, especially if we have the 2015 version of Wade Davis.
Yeah, exactly. You're not doing well off that.
If we have the 2015 version of Wade Davis and then Mariano Rivera to follow that up, can you just after 7 just declare yourself lost? I mean,
absolutely. Especially with our starters, because our starters will go 7, hand it off to
easily our
setup, and then the closer, and it's done.
And so I this will be fun. Okay, so this is there's so many great starting pitchers, and there are so many great starting pitchers, and so I want to kind of go through this. If you're okay with this, start at what would be our number 5 starter and work our way up.
Yep.
You good with that?
Yep.
So who do you have as who would be your number 5 starter in your rotation?
Now, my number 5 starter, definitely people could argue, but again, this is with the premise we're in a series for the fate of humanity.
Yeah.
I don't need him to pitch a 20-year career. I need a series out of these people. So my number 5, I'm actually going with Curt Schilling. And the reason for that is, here's his regular numbers: 216 wins, 146 losses, career ERA of 3.46, that's respectable, 3,116 strikeouts. The big number, in the postseason, he was a different pitcher. 11-2 in the postseason, an ERA of 2.23, and 120 strikeouts just in his postseason career.
Schilling was also the last guy to start both games of a doubleheader.
Yeah. Yep, he was. Yeah, and Schilling, he is a horse. That guy is just a horse. And in big games, he shows up. Yeah.
So, and I was thinking through, okay, if I have one guy who is at his absolute best, and I need him for one game, because your number 5 starter you need for one game.
That's it. That's all you need.
And I'm thinking one game. Kerry Wood.
Whew. There's another cautionary tale of what injuries can do to a player.
I mean, Kerry Wood, before the injuries.
Yeah.
One game.
You want his 20 strikeout game.
Jeff Bagwell.
You what?
Ask Jeff Bagwell about one game with Kerry Wood.
Yeah.
Jeff Bagwell, who's a Hall of Famer.
Indeed.
Ask him. Craig Biggio, who's a Hall of Famer. Ask him about one game with Kerry Wood in 1998.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for one game, he was damn near unhittable.
Well, I mean, honestly, for most of that season, he was damn near unhittable. But, they threw him 280 innings or something like that year.
Yeah, there wasn't going to be much longevity in his career.
No. Him or Mark Pryor. I mean.
Oh, man, Mark Pryor could have been the greatest.
Both of them were just so good.
Yeah.
So Kerry Wood is my number 5 because if I need one game.
Okay.
I mean, I'll just flat say I think his 20 strikeouts was more impressive than any no-no that I've seen.
Whew, that's something.
I mean, because he had 20 strikeouts and no walks.
Yeah.
He gave up one hit to a Punch and Judy number 8 hitter, and it was just junk.
Yeah, it was junk.
Or it would have been the greatest game ever pitched. It would have been a no-hitter with
20
strikeouts.
Yeah, that would have gone down in some serious record books right there.
No one going to touch it.
No,
I mean,
not anymore. Not anymore.
Even when Clemens struck out 20 and he gave up 2 runs.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Nolan Ryan struck out 20 and he walked 8 guys.
Yeah, but that was good old Nolan. Love
he
me
get away
Nolan,
with it.
right?
Yeah. So who's your number 4 guy?
Number 4 for me, Pedro Martinez. Again, injuries got him, but 219 wins, only 100 losses, and the ERA under 3 lifetime at 2.93, and 3,154 Ks. So,
Pedro, yeah, he's going to show up on my list too.
Not
as my number 4 guy, but yeah,
yep.
Dang. Okay,
Pedro.
I'll talk more about Pedro in a minute.
All right, so number 4 for you?
John Smoltz.
Okay, Smoltz. He I couldn't figure out where to place him. He wasn't going to make my top 2 of relievers, although he was a great reliever at times.
I mean, that's honestly part of the reason why he's here.
Yeah, he's versatile. He was
a starter, then he was a reliever, and then he was a great starter again.
Yep.
I mean, John Smoltz. And in the postseason, of those Braves pitchers, he was the best.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say this because, but he was the best of those Braves pitchers.
And that was a heck of a staff.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, we'll move on up to number 3.
All right.
Who you got there?
A guy who's still pitching today.
Oh, okay.
Used to make our Royals look really bad.
Now he's a defending champion, is he not?
Yes, his name is Justin Verlander.
Oh, going Verlander. Okay. I thought you were going Max Scherzer for a second.
Nope, I'm going Justin Verlander.
Okay.
Verlander he's just a horse, and he's had to change the way he pitches.
Yeah, he's not a power guy anymore.
When he showed up, he was touching 100 on the regular.
Yeah.
And had control.
Mm-hmm.
He never really had control problems. And then he's reinvented himself into, I think, a better pitcher.
He's a better all-around pitcher, yeah.
Better all-around pitcher. And I think because his breaking stuff is almost as intimidating as that old fastball used to be.
Right.
And Justin Verlander is we don't live in the day and age now of a 300-win guy.
Correct.
We just don't.
Right.
But had Justin Verlander pitched in the 70s and 80s and 90s, he was a 300-win guy.
I'd say you're right. Yeah.
I think he's the best pitcher of his generation.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see if that holds true when he's actually done. But he's not slowing down yet.
No. It's because he's been able to reinvent himself.
Right.
Yeah. So who do you have as your number 3 guy?
All right, my number 3 is Roger Clemens. Yep, the Rocket.
So you had to overlook a little bit.
Towards the end, yeah.
Yeah, you had to overlook a little bit with the Rocket.
Because he pitched a lot before the steroid era. And
basically anything after Boston you had to overlook.
Yeah, well, yeah, I overlook his time with the Yankees anyway, but that's for different reasons. But still, his numbers, 354 for wins, 184 for losses, career ERA of 3.12, and then 4,672 strikeouts. That's sitting down a lot of people. So numbers only, I got to put old Roger on the list.
Yeah. So I did not add Roger Clemens.
I figured. And now moving up to number 2 in my rotation, this guy is steroid-free and still gives John Kruk nightmares. I've got a good old Randy Johnson as my number 2 starter, 303 wins, 166 losses, 3.29 career ERA, and then he's the king on my list of strikeouts with 4,875.
He also scares every bird that's ever been born. They call a shell afraid of the big unit.
Don't let him hear you say that. He hates it when people bring up the bird.
Oh, I'm not going to mention it to him.
I wouldn't.
He's got reach on me.
A lot of it.
A lot. I think he might have reach on everyone.
Yeah, his arms were halfway to home plate when he released the ball.
Yes, and John Kruk should still be afraid of him.
He should. Made him look foolish in that All-Star game.
It was funny.
It was funny.
It was funny. So, okay. So my number 2, I think, might be your number 1.
Okay.
Maddox.
You got it.
So, honestly, man, 20,421 batters faced, and only 310 of them saw a 3-0 count.
Right.
And 186 of those were intentional walks.
Correct. That guy is the epitome of control.
And what's crazy is it wasn't like he wasn't Al Leiter up there throwing 80 miles an hour either.
No, Al Leiter.
People, and I love Al Leiter. Al Leiter was a great pitcher. I would have loved to have him on the Royals. But
we had Al Leiter. We just called him Kevin Napier, and his stuff wasn't as good.
Oh, I get you. Okay, fair enough. But he was so good, and he threw. That's the thing. People talk about him being this soft throwing guy. I mean, his fastball was still 92 to 94.
Yeah, that's still pretty quick.
I mean, I don't care who you are. That's hard to catch up to.
Correct.
I mean, and he could put it exactly where he wanted.
Yeah.
Exactly where he wanted. I was reading this story earlier today. An umpire told, and it's an umpire talking about Greg Maddux, and he was facing a pretty darn good hitter. He was facing a pretty darn good hitter after they parted ways. Well, no, they hadn't parted ways. He was facing Kenny Lofton. Kenny Lofton wasn't a bad ball player.
Yeah, no, he was really good.
And Maddux got to an 0-2 count.
Okay.
And they said that he came up, and on his next pitch, he turned to the first base umpire and said, "You may want to back off the line 3 steps because the next ball is going to come down your way." And he said this in a game.
Yeah.
And the next thing you knew, that's where it went, was straight down the line, and it would have beamed that umpire square in the noggin.
If he hadn't moved.
And where he was at. They also said that he spent more time watching the opponent's batting practice than he watched film.
Yeah.
And so it was just crazy. So Greg Maddux, he's my number 2 guy.
Yep. All right. Well, he was my number 1. So now move up to your number 1. I think you said you were going to talk more about Pedro.
I am going to talk about Pedro.
There you go.
Don Zimmer and I are going to talk about Pedro.
Don Zimmer doesn't have much to say.
No, I know.
Except thud.
Yeah. Don Zimmer thought he had something to say about Pedro, and that just didn't work out well. No, I love guys who are just competitors.
Yes. I
love guys who have a little bit of a mean streak, and who I think that if I like pitchers that I think that still to this day, that if you looked at him wrong, you might put one in your ear hole.
They're few and far between, but there are still a few.
And Pedro was that guy.
Yeah, he was.
He was that guy in Montreal.
Yep. He was an expo.
He was that guy in Boston.
Definitely.
He was that guy with the Dodgers.
Yep, he was.
He was that guy in a lot of places. I mean, that's just Pedro Martinez you give me one game and say it's my guy against the world, and I want Pedro on the mound.
And all he has to throw is a slider. He doesn't have to throw any other pitches because his slider is just ungodly.
You can't touch it.
Nope, not even a little bit.
It's kind of like this. It's kind of like Mo Rivera's splitter.
Right.
You give me Pedro and Mo Rivera, I don't even need anybody else.
No, you're good.
Yeah. I mean, you give me Pedro and Mo Rivera and the Royals lineup from 1997, and I think we're going to win the baseball game. Okay?
Why do you have to mention the dark period in Royals history?
When Ken Harvey was their best hitter. I mean, I still think we're going to win the baseball game because Pedro and Mo Rivera are going to will them to win that game.
I mean, it'll probably be 1-0, but yeah.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, still a win.
Pedro Pedro's my number one. And I loved watching Pedro pitch. And every time I think about Pedro, I get a little misty-eyed. Not because of Pedro.
So that's a serious man crush on Pedro right there.
But because the Royals lost a guy that I think was going to be had the potential to be the next Pedro. We lost a guy in an automobile accident.
Oh, Ace Ventura. Yep.
Yeah. Yordano Ventura had so much Pedro in him.
He did. He was a feisty competitor.
He'd put it in your ear hole.
He sure would, and it would be coming fast.
Yeah, and there was so much similarities. So when I think about Pedro, my mind goes to Yordano.
Yeah.
And I get a little misty-eyed.
Yeah, that was definitely someone taken way too soon at 23 years old. It's been a few years now, but yeah.
It has been, but man. Yeah.
Because it was right after the World Series year that had happened.
Yeah, it was the year after.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, man.
Yeah, after 16.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. There's our list.
And you had Maddox.
I had Maddox at number one. Yep.
So I'm just interested. Why Maddox rather than the other guys? What was it with Maddox?
Again, his control was second to none. We also didn't even go over it. That guy, if he was pitching, middle was closed. He won Gold Gloves as a pitcher. His fielding was phenomenal. And just, again, if I'm looking for one guy to win me a baseball game, it's Greg Maddux. He's not going to put people on base. He's going to, again, give them the junk to hit that they're going to pop straight up. It's going to be great.
And Maddox was one of those guys, man. And I'm still thinking about Ace Ventura. Maddox was one of those guys where I remember the Chicks Dig long ball commercials.
That just showed up on my Facebook timeline the other day because I'd shared the commercial because I think it's hilarious. Yeah, he and Tom Glavine.
Well, and so they made a lot of chicks really mad because they didn't give up too many long balls.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And so, buddy, this is fun. There's so many guys, though, you start to think about, and you're like, oh, man, that guy was good.
Well, we could have made 5 rosters apiece.
I started thinking about the Hawk.
Yeah.
Andre Dawson.
Yeah.
And I thought about Dave Winfield. And I was thinking about a guy who I didn't think got as much credit as he deserved, and it's probably because he played in Baltimore, and that was Mike Mussina.
Oh, Moose, yeah.
He could pitch.
He could. Yeah, I saw his name pop up in my research. I'm like, I remember him. Had the craziest pitch when someone was on base. When he was pitching from the stretch, he did that full bow, and
yeah.
That guy, but he could throw.
I mean, there was some guys, man, you start to think. And it's like, man, this and even some modern day guys. I don't think we understand how wonderful it is to have a guy like Mike Trout roaming center field.
You know what really stinks is Mike Trout's career is going to be wasted on a bad franchise. Because the Angels they're never going to go anywhere with him.
They're not Cleveland Brown dumpster fire.
No, but they're just not going anywhere.
They're just not good.
No, when they decide to, rebuild and get the youth movement, they're going to trade Trout to a contender. And then let's see what he does when he actually gets to the playoffs.
Right.
Because the last time he was in the playoffs, he came across a Royals team that was red hot and steamrolled right through them.
Yeah, but of the people who were there, he hit over 400 in that league in that series.
And that's just it. So he can't do it by himself, and the Angels aren't giving him any.
Mike Trout by any stretch of the imagination. And the other thing you start to think about is the franchises that what could have been. I think about the Montreal Expos.
Yeah.
I mean, Pedro.
Yep.
The unit.
Vladimir Guerrero.
Vlad Guerrero,
yep.
Andre Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
They had El Presidente, Dennis Martinez, who quietly had 2 no-hitters in his career.
Right, very quietly.
I mean, that was a good – and other guys, they were just good. They had so much talent.
Again, they got lost because nobody ever went and saw them.
Well, and so then they got traded, or just signed outright somewhere else. But Kyle, I want baseball back, man.
I know, it leaves you itching for some baseball, doesn't it?
It does. I'm thinking that it might be 90-some degrees tomorrow, but let's play 2.
Exactly.
Okay.
Sadly, no.
Ernie Banks looking down, going, "Let's play 2, boys. Let's play 2."
That's right. No, it sounds like baseball is not in the cards in the near future. As the latest deal between the owners and the players union was again rejected. So
I hate that. Let's play baseball.
Yeah,
I did see that. I'm up here in Leavenworth, and apparently there's a minor league team that in St. Joe.
I did not know that.
Well, it's an interesting thing. It's like summer league for college ball players.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
And so, metal bats, things along those lines. And they open their gates on July 1.
Oh, okay, good.
And so I am absolutely going to go to St. Joe, Missouri,
and watch a baseball game. Yeah.
Watch some college ball players. It's not going to be bad ball. I mean,
they're using those metal bats, and that in the hands of a full-grown man is a rocket launcher.
Well, right, I know. So balls are going to fly, and it's going to be fun.
Protect yourself. Protect yourself at all times.
Yeah. Well, they have the netting up halfway down the line.
Yeah.
So into the outfield. So it would. Yeah, I think we're okay.
Sure.
So, but yes, I'll take my ball glove.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, hopefully we can get back to some baseball here real soon. I don't know. I'm starting to get real worried it's not going to be until 2021.
I don't like this.
I don't like it either. It's almost like a strike year, but not quite. It's just they can't agree on money year. So it is almost like a strike year. Yeah. So there we go. There's our baseball spectacular. Go team, go.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
If anyone's made it to this late in the show, if you agree or disagree with any of our picks, go ahead and put in the comments what you think. More than happy to debate this, or maybe you can come up with a name that we didn't think of.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, buddy, next time you and I are together, we're going to try to do a live show on location, right?
If that's the next time, yeah. But you're responsible for putting that together. But we're going to keep everyone surprised.
Oh, I'm not telling anybody where it is.
Right. But yeah, we might do our first live remote show.
Right.
So yeah,
I've been talking about that. I've been talking to that guy about being a title sponsor of the show.
Oh, that would be spectacular. We'll have to get a T-shirt with the place on it so I can wear it.
Hitting the Ball podcast brought to you by.
And leave it at that. Mystery.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, hopefully we can get that done. That would be super fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Sounds like a winner.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. It's something to talk about, at least it's sports in its smallest, strangest form right now. So
absolutely.
That's going to do it for us. Thank you for joining us. We will see you guys next time.
Later, everybody.